If you've turned on a television in the UK anytime in the last 30 years, you know Eamonn Holmes. He's the uncle we never had, the cheeky chap on the sofa, the voice of reason when the world goes mad. For decades, alongside Ruth Langsford, he was half of daytime TV's golden couple, a duo that felt as permanent and comforting as a cup of tea on a rainy Tuesday. But recently, the smile that has greeted millions of us for years has been hiding a story much darker and much more painful than any of us realized. We often look at celebrities and think they have it all, the money, the fame, the perfect life. But if the last few years have taught us anything about Eamonn Holmes, it's that fame doesn't protect you from heartbreak. In fact, sometimes it just means you have to suffer through it while the whole world watches. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the unseen struggles of a broadcasting legend and why his recent journey is more relatable and heartbreaking than you might think. The split that shook the nation. Let's be honest, when the news broke earlier this year that Eamonn and Ruth were separating, it felt personal. It wasn't just celebrity gossip. For many of us, it felt like our own friends were breaking up. They weren't just a married couple, they were a brand. They bickered like us, they laughed like us, and they loved like us. They were the antidote to the polished fake perfection we usually see on TV. So, when the announcement came that their 14-year marriage and 27-year relationship was over, it was a massive shock. But consider the reality for Eamonn. The loneliness of the empty nest. At 64, starting over isn't just an administrative task, it is a complete identity shift. The public eye. Imagine going through the worst emotional pain of your life, but you still have to show up to work, sit under bright studio lights, and read the news, knowing everyone is analyzing your body language. Reports suggest that Eamonn has been devastated by the split. While Ruth has remained relatively quiet, taking time away from loose women to heal, Eamonn has largely kept working. It's a classic coping mechanism. Keep moving so the feelings don't catch up with you. But behind the banter on his new channel, the sadness of losing his life partner is a struggle that no amount of makeup can cover. A body at war, the physical battle. While the emotional heartbreak is headline news, the physical battle Eamonn has been fighting is equally harrowing. If you follow him on Instagram, you know this isn't just about getting old. This is chronic, debilitating agony. In recent years, Eamonn has undergone double hip replacement, a major surgery in itself, spinal surgery. In an attempt to cure chronic back pain, he went under the knife. Tragically, the recovery was brutal. A horrific fall. Just as he was recovering from back surgery, he fell down the stairs at his Surrey home, breaking his shoulder. It's a struggle. I can't walk. Everything is an effort. Eamonn Holmes. There is something deeply humbling about seeing a man known for his energy and command of a room now having to rely on a walker or a wheelchair. He has been open about his fear of never walking unaided again. This is where the story becomes so relatable. Chronic pain is an invisible epidemic. It grinds you down, it makes you irritable, it makes you tired, and it isolates you. For Eamonn, a man whose career depends on high energy and charisma, dealing with constant, gnawing pain while trying to remain entertaining is a heroic feat of endurance. The contrast is stark. The man on screen is joking about politics. The man in the commercial break is likely gripping his chair in pain, wondering if he can make it through the next hour. The professional betrayal. To understand the current heartbreak, we have to look back at the catalyst, his exit from ITV's This Morning. For 15 years, Eamonn and Ruth were the Friday fixtures. They were the ones we trusted. Then, in a move that baffled fans, they were replaced. Eamonn didn't go quietly, and rightly so. He felt dropped. He felt that he wasn't given a reason. Why does this hurt so much? Because Eamonn is a broadcaster of the old school. He believes in loyalty and tenure. To be pushed aside in favor of fresher faces, a move that, looking back at the subsequent Philip Schofield scandal, seems even more ironic now, was a blow to his professional pride. He moved to GB News, and while he has found a loyal audience there, the transition represented a massive upheaval. He went from the comfortable warm bath of daytime ITV to the sharper, more polarized world of news commentary. He has spoken candidly about feeling that he was treated without respect by his former bosses. That kind of resentment, coupled with the feeling of being past your prime in the eyes of executives, is a heavy burden to carry, especially when you are simultaneously battling health issues. The loneliness of the long-distance presenter. There is a specific kind of loneliness that hits men of a certain age. Friends are busy, children are grown, and health starts to decline. Eamonn has been incredibly brave in showing his vulnerability. He recently posted images of himself doing rehabilitation exercises, sweat on his brow, looking exhausted. He wasn't trying to look cool. He was showing the grit it takes just to keep mobile. The high-functioning sadness, we need to talk about the fact that Eamonn is still working. He is up at the crack of dawn, literally, 3 a.m. starts for breakfast TV. He is putting on a suit. He is engaging with guests. This is the show must go on mentality that defines his generation, but we must ask, at what cost? When the cameras turn off and he goes back to an empty house, or perhaps a hotel, as he navigates his separation, the silence must be deafening. The laughter of the studio audience is replaced by the reality of physio appointments and legal discussions. Why we still root for Eamonn? Despite the controversies, and he has had a few, despite the channel hopping, and despite the grumpiness that sometimes surfaces, the British public has a deep affection for Eamonn Holmes. Why? Because he is human. He doesn't pretend to be perfect. When his back hurts, he tells us. When he's angry at ITV, he says it. When he's sad, you can see it in his eyes. In a world of PR-managed, robot-like celebrities who issue perfectly crafted statements, Eamonn is raw. His struggles remind us that success doesn't insulate you from pain. Health is the only wealth that matters. Even the longest relationships can fracture. Eamonn is currently navigating the hardest chapter of his life. He is fighting to regain his mobility, fighting to redefine his career without his famous partner by his side, and fighting to keep his spirits up in the face of relentless pain. A final thought. The next time you see Eamonn Holmes on your screen, don't just see the grumpy presenter or the opinionated news anchor. Look a little closer. See the man who is standing up despite his body telling him to sit down. See the man who is smiling despite his heart breaking. See the man who is carrying on, because that is all he knows how to do. He is a reminder to all of us to be a little kinder, because we truly never know the battles someone is fighting behind the laughter.